With a book series like Harry Potter, there are so many people that latch on to these stories. And with that comes a lot of fan interpretation, fan opinions, and things that fans would have wanted to see. And I was curious to see what people had to say about this. I went to my community post and said, if you could change one thing in Harry Potter, what would you change? And my god, I thought I was gonna get like maybe 300 comments, but I have 1,824. Holy crap, you guys came through. Welcome to Movie Flame, I'm Morgan Ross, and today I'm going to go over all of the things that you guys said you would want to change in the Harry Potter series. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and sharing. It will greatly help to grow and sustain the channel. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my other social media pages, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Now, let's look at what you guys had to say. So I guess I'm just gonna start at the top comments because they're the most liked. But the first one says, or maybe just one Slytherin student that was a good person who helped Harry. It's funny you say that because there actually was a deleted arc where the Weasleys had a cousin who would be sorted into Slytherin and would actually help Harry, giving him information about what Slytherin students in their common room said, specifically about their Death Eater fathers. So we were this close to actually getting a good Slytherin, but obviously we never did. And in the end, it was basically just like, if you're in Slytherin, you're bad. Like, you kind of wrote their fate for them. Moving on to the next one, give Hermione a sibling who isn't a wizard or witch, but they still have a loving relationship as a contrast to Petunia and Lily's muggle and witch siblings dynamic. At this point, I feel like you guys just posted these right after I posted my video about deleted plot lines, because one, I talked about the good Slytherin that would have been a Weasley cousin, and then I also talked about how Hermione almost had a sibling who, again, was not a witch or wizard. I guess that's just the timing of when I uploaded that video and I asked this. Harry becoming the defense against the dark arts teacher at Hogwarts. So he became an Auror after Hogwarts. But yeah, I think it would have been cool to see him come back to Hogwarts and teach the class that he was so good at. I think that he was at his peak when he was running the D.A. He was so good at it and was really feeling himself. Like, he had so much confidence doing that. Speaking of being confident, one of the best ways to make sure you're able to feel yourself is by using certain fragrances to enhance your style. This month I've been using the scents Gaggia Medio I by Storie Venziane and Sugarful Noir by Michael Germain thanks to the services of Scentbird. They offer a monthly subscription that lets you explore over 900 authentic designer and niche fragrances. You receive a generous 8ml vial which lasts 30 days, perfect for about 120 sprays. It's been so fun experimenting with scents that complement my daily activities, whether I'm hitting the gym, organizing my house, or just enjoying a day of self-care. I wore Gaggia Medio I by Storie Venziane to my friend's wedding this month, and the groom himself told me he liked the scent I was wearing, and even asked where I got it, and I was so excited to tell him about Scentbird, and I think I got him on the wave of this amazing company. Then I used Sugarful Noir on a much needed date night with my wife, which we definitely needed having a 7-month-old, and she loved the mixture of lavender and sandalwood. With Scentbird, you can change your fragrance every month, avoiding the commitment and cost of pricey full-size bottles, which can range from $300 to $500. I recommend you test different scents for different occasions, as well as for different outfits, because as I said, these fragrances can enhance your style. So if you want to level up your own style and try something new, you can get 55% off your first month with promo code 55flame or scan the QR code on the screen. You get to try the first fragrance from Scentbird for only $8.97, and your next month will only be $17.95. Again, that's promo code 55flame for 55% off your first month. This next one is interesting. To at least imply that McGonagall checked in on Harry as a cat during his 10 years with the Dursleys. Would it be so hard for Rowling to add in the scene in Prisoner of Azkaban where she turns into a cat in class to have Harry's inner monologue say that she looked a lot like the cat that used to roam Privet Drive? I actually really like that one. I think that would have been a very sweet detail to add, and would have made Harry and McGonagall's relationship that much stronger. Can't believe it hasn't been said yet, but removing the cursed child is canon. That's all you have to say for me. You don't even have to describe it. I despise the cursed child, and at this point, if you watch the channel, you already know that. It's been a running joke for, shoot, probably like the last 7 years that I am the #1 hater of that stage play. I actually rewrote The Cursed Child, and I think the title was Making Garbage to Gold. Yeah, that was a ballsy title. Most people seem to like it though, so hopefully that title lived up to the expectations. Make it so we see what happens in the Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw common rooms and just have more characters from those two houses. Well, shout out to Hogwarts Legacy for that, because they showed us Hufflepuff's common room for the first time, and we also saw Ravenclaw's common room. And we met a lot of Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff characters there too. But yeah, it definitely would have been cool to see more of them in the 7 books. It's obviously difficult though, because it is from Harry's point of view, who is a Gryffindor. I guess though they could have other chapters where it wasn't from Harry's point of view, because they did have quite a few chapters like that, like the second Quidditch match in the first book, then the first chapter in the 4th book, plus the first 2 chapters in the Half-Blood Prince. Oh, and the first chapter in Deathly Hallows. I feel like all of those were very vital to the plot though. I don't think that Rowling could justify just being with Hufflepuff or Ravenclaws. I wish that Lupin could have faced Greyback. I mean, Greyback was the one that destroyed Lupin's quality of life. So it would have been absolutely epic if Lupin had killed him before dying. Perfect ending. Yeah, dude, I've actually talked about that before. I do think that that would have been a really cool ending to Lupin's arc. It might have been hard to fit in with Rowling knowing that Lupin was going to die in the Battle of Hogwarts. And then one thing that I'll just take a second to talk about is the Half-Blood Prince movie scene where Bellatrix and Greyback attack the burrow. This scene was obviously not in the books, so there was no repercussions from it, and they couldn't do anything with it because they had to follow the rest of the book that is actually from the source material. But a big part of that is that that was the first time that Lupin and Greyback were in the same vicinity to each other since Greyback bit Lupin. So the repercussions for that and the emotional stake that that should have been exponential. But obviously it couldn't be because, again, that wasn't in the book. I think that was one of the dumbest scenes to add. Anyway, next one. I would have liked to see Sirius train Harry in combat. Have Sirius pass down spells and knowledge he picked up. Honestly, I never really thought of Sirius as like a master duelist. Like, I don't know if he would have that much to pass on to Harry. He was a very smart student and top of his class, so I guess he does have some skill. But something just came to my mind. So if Lupin was out of practice because he was at home with his family, and that was the reason why he died at the Battle of Hogwarts, having lost a step with no practice, wouldn't Sirius have had no practice for 12 years, meaning he would have been really, really bad at magic? It wasn't until the Department of Mysteries that he did use magic, and there, obviously, he was killed by his cousin Bellatrix. But I'm rambling, and hopefully you guys enjoy when I ramble because I just talk Harry Potter, which is what made this channel take off. But anyway, getting back to your comment, I don't know. I don't think that Sirius would have that much to pass down to Harry. I honestly would argue that Harry was a better wizard in some ways than Sirius after spending 12 years in Azkaban. That might be a hot take, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Leaving Tonks and Lupin alive, the most heartbreaking death of the series for me. I love them so much. I mean, you could argue that every single character shouldn't have died because it made you sad, but I think that every single death in the series had to happen to give the emotional weight that made the series so great. So yeah, I would say that I wouldn't change a single death. I wouldn't make any of them not die, and I probably wouldn't add any more people that would die. Another one about the Cursed Child never being written at all. Yeah, freaking tweet. Is that still something that people say? Like retweet just out loud? I might be getting old, dude. I just turned 30 yesterday and I'm feeling extra old. That's definitely not something that people still say. We said that all the time when we were young. Oh God. When we were young. Oof. That statement alone really ages me. It's crazy too, because I started this channel when I was 21 years old. Man, I've come a long way since then. And if you've been here on this journey with me for that long, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would have liked to see more interactions with Snape and Dumbledore, since they have such a complex relationship and are the two to know the truth. Whether it be more flashbacks when Harry learns the truth, or even just a scene throughout the series where an interaction or comment between them takes on a whole new meaning in another read-through or rewatch. Yeah, I'd actually disagree with that. I think that all of the flashbacks we got in The Prince's Tale were just enough, and I think that Hagrid telling us those conversations that Dumbledore and Snape had on the outside of the Forbidden Forest was again just enough. It made the whole arc mysterious, so I don't think I would change that. Hedwig should survive, and then the next one, Fred survived. Again, I don't think that any of the characters who died should not have. Harry naming his daughter after McGonagall, Lily Minerva Potter, because she was basically like a mother to Harry and she didn't even get a mention. Yeah, I think that would have been nice. I've always loved the relationship between Harry and McGonagall. The Halloween celebrations always bothered me. Voldemort murdered James and Lily on Halloween and Harry became the boy who lived. Yet no one references this on Halloween in any year. Not even Harry mentioned it. Well, this is actually perfect timing because speaking of Minerva and now coming to this, there was actually a part in the original Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone script. And in that scene at the Hogwarts feast, McGonagall actually goes up to Harry and asks him if he's okay, knowing that that was the day that his parents died. So yeah, that's one thing that I would have added, and it's something that I really wish the films did put into the movie. But it was left on the cutting room floor, and it was in the script, but never added. I just wish we saw more of Hermione's family / backstory. It's weird that we know all about the Weasleys, but we barely even hear about Hermione's parents. Does she have siblings? What was her life like before Hogwarts? Heck, they never even celebrate her birthday in the books. Yeah, I mean, that's always something that people bring up, especially recently, that Hermione kind of did her parents dirty, like leaving a ski trip to go to the Order of the Phoenix and spend the summer there, and always coming to the Weasleys. And yeah, the one point that you made about what was her life like before Hogwarts, I think that would be really interesting to learn. Honestly, that's something that I never really thought about, but now that you bring it up, I'm intrigued. Having Harry go to Lupin for advice, he always went to Sirius, which makes sense, he was his godfather, he should go to him. But he technically knew Remus longer and trusted him longer as well. I feel like Remus gets overlooked in some parts of the story, and everyone knows he would have done anything to help Harry. Yeah, I mean, Harry could have written him a few letters about his scar hurting, like at the beginning of the Goblet of Fire. A very simple change. The series ends 11 years later, not 19 years later, and Andromeda, Ginny, and the trio take Teddy to King's Cross and see him off. Oh boy, it says read more. Oh wow, okay. They said a very simple change and then gave this like 3-paragraph thing. Let's hear him out though, let's read it. He asks Harry what house he'll be put in, and Harry says Edward Remus Lupin. You were named after your grandpa Ted and your dad. Ted was a Ravenclaw, for the sake of my argument. Honestly, I feel like the fans always put him in Hufflepuff, but anyway, that's not important. And your dad was Gryffindor. Your mom was a Hufflepuff, and your grandma Andromeda is a Slytherin. Oh, now I see why they said he was in Ravenclaw, so you have all the different houses. Teddy reacts with surprise, and Harry references Snape without referencing Snape, as he says Slytherins can surprise you. Whatever house you're put in, I know you'll be okay. You're brave and funny and smart and creative. Your family will be proud of you no matter what. I know I am. Teddy hugs his well-wishers and boards the Hogwarts Express, finding a compartment and waving at his family as the train goes. Ginny asks, do you think he'll be okay? I know he'll be. Harry's scar hadn't pained him in years. All was well. Definitely not a simple change like your first sentence said, but an interesting scene nonetheless. I don't think that that would make for a good epilogue, but I think it would make for a really nice scene. So yeah, good writing, I like that, but I don't think that would have been a better epilogue. Seeing Dobby when Harry used the Resurrection Stone in the Forbidden Forest. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think it was good just seeing the Marauders and Lily, but I think that would have made for quite the scene. I don't really know how that would go. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna scroll down. We got 1,800 comments, so let's not just do the top. Let's just randomly go down. Right away, you would change the director of the Goblet of Fire. Yeah, dude, Mike Newell was not the best director. And bro, something crazy is the fact that I feel like nobody talked about the Goblet of Fire and Mike Newell the way that they do now until I made my video on why the Goblet of Fire is the worst, where I kind of looked at the behind the scenes and broke down why it was so bad and why Mike Newell was the problem. Like before I made that video, I remember thinking, gosh, this is a lot of people's favorite movie, which was the consensus online. But then after I made that video, the consensus online is now that Goblet of Fire is the worst and that Mike Newell was the worst director by far. Like I did a poll recently about the Harry Potter directors and Mike Newell was at the very bottom. Moving on to the next one. For the movies and subsequent merch, use the right bird for Ravenclaw. Yeah, the movie is used an actual raven instead of an eagle like it is in the books. And a lot of people will be like, why isn't it a raven? Raven is literally in the name. But the name Ravenclaw, when you break it down, raven is another way of saying black. And then you have claw. And eagles are known for their black claws, hence Ravenclaw. And then if you think about it, like Gryffindor, their logo isn't a griffin, it's a lion. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to see them do more merch with the actual eagle logo. Maybe now with the show, I am pretty confident that they will make sure that they get that right to make it different from the movies, because that's a major thing that the show needs to do to make sure that it stands away from the films and stands on its own. It needs to be as different from it as possible and fix things that the movies might have done wrong or didn't add. I would use a time turner to quash the cursed child from existence. Yeah. And it's funny because the cursed child literally revolves around a time turner, which not only negates what happened in the Order of the Phoenix, where every single time turner was destroyed during the Battle of the Department of Mysteries, but they also completely use time travel in the wrong way. If you go back in time, what happens will always happen, as we saw with Harry and Hermione. I made a video on time travel where I probably explained that way better because I sat down and actually wrote a script and put my thoughts together. Right now, I'm just going from the top of my head. But anyway, Draco gets a good ending. No, get out of here. J.K. Rowling said that he was not supposed to be redeemed. And that's how you know she didn't write The Cursed Child. She just gave her stamp of approval without reading it to bring in the big bucks. But yeah, I made a video about that too. Jesus, I made a video about everything. But in that video, I go over how J.K. Rowling specifically goes after Draco fangirls in a pretty aggressive way and basically says that they're delusional and says that they are making something that wasn't really there. She was kind of savage for that, not gonna lie. That was an interesting video to make. I would have added Dudley to the final sequence. Have Harry give him a wave and a nod. Dudley drops off his muggle born at 9 3/4. So that's actually another plot line that was originally supposed to be in the books but was cut. Dudley was meant to have a wizard child and be there for the epilogue, so it's funny that you say that. Hermione being taken far more seriously about the rights of house elves. Yeah, that's a big one because she was literally just trying to end slavery, and it's hard to argue with that. I feel like the way that she went about it though with S.P.E.W. and shoving it in everyone's face made people be turned off from it, but that doesn't really excuse the fact that everybody was like, oh no, they're slaves, they're good, they're happy. So there seems to be a consensus that people want more about other houses, whether it be more Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw characters, or that Slytherin had more people that were not bad. There are a lot of comments going over that. And there's also a lot of comments about making people who died survive. Yeah, pretty much all of these are exactly the same. So yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up there. It was fun going over all of your comments, and hopefully you guys enjoy me going over all of your comments as well. Thank you again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Again, you can get 55% off your first month with promo code 55flame or scan the QR code on the screen. I have a lot of other cool Harry Potter content on this channel, like this one where I go over every single character in the series who killed someone, or this one where I go over the entire life of Peter Pettigrew, aka Wormtail. That's all I have for you guys in this video though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.